Hello, everybody. Bad Weather Freak here. I have a update on the 2020 hurricane season. It is August 29th. Yeah, August 29th, 2020, and it is roughly about 1:51 p.m. At the time of recording this video. We are pretty much done with Laura. A few guys, I'm pretty sure, have seen a lot of social media posts and videos, photos, how devastating the Louisiana and East Texas area is, especially the area of Lake Charles, Cameron, Louisiana, where it made landfall. Um, it's heartbreaking. Now, one thing I wanted to point out before we move on to the analysis of the 2020 hurricane season is as of right now, we unfortunately have about 14 deaths attributed to Hurricane Laura. Out of those 14 deaths, the initial six deaths, four of them were attributed to falling trees. And that is something that it is a concern. It happens after every storm, and it does not have to be a major hurricane to really cause those kind of issues. To basically knock down a tree and landing in your house. If it has been raining, like in this case, it was with the other with Marco, the other tropical storm Marco. So the ground was saturated. Now you get a Category 4, almost Category 5 rolling through. It was bound to happen, unfortunately. But the thing is, you don't need a strong hurricane to really cause issues like that. If it has been raining for a few days, it's just the ground is going to be saturated. That loosen up the roots of the trees, and just some decent sized winds, wind speeds. It's definitely gonna knock them down. And that's the issue that we saw with some of those deaths. Another problem that I want to emphasize, and I want to reiterate that, is the fact that some of the other deaths are related to carbon monoxide poisoning, and that is the issue. If you have a generator, please do not put the generator indoors, and not even in the garage. I'll give you an example. I was actually working in my home. I was actually pressure washing my home, and I have a pressure washing trailer. And the pressure washer was in the trailer, in the side of the garage. And let me tell you, I have smoke detectors in the house that are also carbon monoxide detectors. And let me tell you, with the door closed to go inside of the house, now of course the garage door was open. But I can tell you that in the hallway that is right next to the garage, there's one of those alarms, and it was just going off constantly, meaning that there is some carbon monoxide going indoors, even with the door closed and with the garage door open. So that's one of the things that definitely tells you, do not put the generator indoors or the garage. Keep it outside if possible. Because unfortunately, a whole family died because of the carbon monoxide poisoning. Other people died besides that family, and there are several hospitalized due to carbon monoxide poisoning. So that's something that I wanted to point out. I want to make sure you guys were aware and make sure that you're remembering that do not put the generator indoors or in the garage. Keep it outdoors where there's airflow around it, and it's going to carry away that carbon monoxide. With that being said and out of the way, let's take a look at the latest forecast. And as you can see, the National Hurricane Center is already looking at two potential areas of development. We have the first area, which has a 30% chance. This one is closer to the Lesser Antilles. As of the 8 a.m. update, a tropical wave located about 550 miles of the Windward Islands is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Some gradual development of the system is possible during the next several days while it moves westward about 15 miles an hour toward the Lesser Antilles. Now, regardless of the development, this system will likely produce gusty winds and locally heavy rainfall across portions of the Windward Islands on Sunday. So that's something that even if it forms or not, is going to definitely cause potentially localized flooding. It's potential, but it's definitely going to be a rainmaker as of now. I'm expecting that probably as it moves further west, like it crosses Puerto Rico, like south of Puerto Rico this way, this is where the area where there is a ton of really warm water and upper heat content, which is fuel basically for the storms. So I mean, we'll see what the forecasting models say, but it's potentially. I mean, the National Hurricane Center is giving a 30%, and it's getting ready to update anyways at 2 o'clock. Now this is the second area. It's a National Hurricane Center is giving it a 40% chance within the next 5 days. Another tropical wave is located over the eastern Atlantic Ocean, just southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. This system is expected to move very slowly for the next several days, and some development is possible early next week of the eastern or central Atlantic. This one here, it's obviously has a better chance than this one, but I'm not really expecting this to potentially affect any land. It is so far north and out that by the time it starts moving, it usually just kind of like it starts curving up. That's what I'm expecting with this one. If it was further south, then it may have a potential of developing and affecting the islands. But at this point, it's so far east and higher that I don't see it being an issue. Now let's go back and take a look at the satellite imagery for the two areas. I believe it's no, not that one. This one here. So here they are. This is the one that the National Hurricane Center is giving. Let's see. This one here is this one, the 30%. This one, no, this one here. So this one here, you can see, is basically this one here. So it's south of Cabo Verde Islands. That sounds about right. Now, if you guys look behind it, there is a more vigorous wave that is actually exiting the coast of Africa, and this one looks definitely much better organized, much bigger. It's further south from this one, so I believe this one is going to have definitely more potential than obviously this one. And I mean, this is a train of waves, and this is very typical for the time of the season. Remember, the season is not until, what is it, the 12th or 14th of September. That's the peak of the season. So from now on, you're going to start seeing this, because we have a strong West African monsoon, which is just spitting out waves and moisture into the Atlantic. Really warm waters right under the favorable conditions. That's when you start getting up storms forming. So this one here, it's looking like it has better potential for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the 2 p.m. update, we will have this highlighted by the National Hurricane Center. So let me take a look here. Let me go back and see. Let me refresh this here. So, yeah, and it looks like now for the okay. Let me see. Yeah, this is already. So it is actually already updated. See. And this is basically where potentially Laura exited. And this is probably where it may have a chance of regenerating into potentially a subtropical storm, or even a tropical storm. So they call it subtropical storms usually, or subtropical. Yeah, because this is a tropical area. Anything above that, pretty much like this far north, is subtropical. That's why they call it subtropical. But it's pretty much the same thing. It causes the same amount of damage. It just developed so far north. But I'm surprised that they still haven't. Maybe later today, maybe at 8 o'clock at night, they may highlight that. But as of right now, they haven't. Let's take a look at something very interesting. Sea surface temperatures. As we can see here, we are in pretty much a La Nina. That's why you see all this cooling over here in the western or in the eastern Pacific. A lot of warmth in the Atlantic, in the Caribbean Sea. Gulf of Mexico has cooled down. You see this blue patch here. This is because of Hurricane Laura. Anytime you have a storm, it feeds off of the warm waters, and when it's like basically whatever's leaving behind is like cooler water, because it's almost like it's sucking out the warmth and the energy of the sea to intensify, and what is leaving behind is basically cooler waters behind. That's why you see this spot here, this trail where it basically went through. and just churn the water, and that's why you see that it's actually cooler compared to the rest of the Gulf. Now, doesn't mean this is 40 degrees Fahrenheit, super cold. It means it's just below average now because the storm went through there. That's why you see that. But now let's go back and see. This is the this if it's a plus, this is the Pacific. So what you see here is basically over here. That's what the Nino 3.4 is, the main area where the storm. See here, this is at Nino 3.4, the main developing region for the Pacific. That's what that is. So if it was up here, then you would see the here. You see how it looks blue. It will be more like reddish or darker, basically meaning it's warmer temperatures. But it's further down. This is a La Nina territory, not an extreme La Nina, but it is a decent amount. Like a fairly strong La Nina, but not the strongest, obviously. We'll see if it starts going up back into more of a neutral phase, or if it actually does that like here, but then dips again, and then we will be taking it into a more or stronger La Nina. Let's see. So that's what it has to do with those. Again, some of the showers that we have going on right now. Let me show you the forecast and see what the forecasting models are saying. Oh, before I do that, let me go back and I wanted to go over the Eastern Pacific because we have a tropical storm, Isel. Now, this tropical storm it has a pressure of 1,001 millibars. It's moving at 7 miles per hour northeast. So it's actually just going up into Baja California, basically. That's what it's doing. And then there's an area that the National Hurricane Center has highlighted for closer to Hawaii. Obviously, that's not going to affect Hawaii at all. But it still has they're giving it a 20% chance of development. So let's go back to the forecast models. And let me tell you guys, I've mentioned this before, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. But the forecasting models this year have been having a really, really tough time predicting where the storms are going to be, or if they were going to form and where they will be going. The European model, for example, I remember Hurricane Laura. It basically did not develop Hurricane Laura at all. It showed it like here, kind of like going this way and then fizzling out, and we saw what ended up happening. I mean, we almost ended up with a Category 5 hurricane out of Laura. So obviously, the forecasting model is having a really hard time. But let's see what the GFS is actually highlighting. This is Laura here, it re-emerging into the water, into the ocean, and that's why you saw that spot where the Hurricane Center. Let me see. Let me go back here. This here. That's why they highlighted that area, because there's potential that it may re-intensify actually. Now let's see. And then basically it just fizzle out. Nothing much happens out of it. So as far as the GFS goes, let me go back. So what you're seeing here, let me see. The GFS is not really developing those highlighted areas that I mentioned earlier. This may be a new wave that is coming off the coast of Africa. So you can see it's basically just a fish storm, what they call fish storm, which is just starts drifting north and really not affect any land. Same thing with the other one. And at this point, the high pressure is so high up. That's why the storms are just going up. They don't have any blocking pattern or blocking mechanism that will basically prevent from going up. As far as this one here that we were watching, approaching the Lesser Antilles, you see that the GFS doesn't really develop it into anything. Now, as far as the European is basically keeping it. This goes out only 48 hours, and it's really not developing anything. Canadian model. Let's take a look at the Canadian model. Now, the Canadian model is picking this one up. This is the one that has a 30% chance that is approaching the Lesser Antilles. At this point, 78 hours out, it has it all the way over here. And it kind of makes landfall in Central America. Now, it's noticed that it's picking these ones up here. And just like the GFS, it doesn't shoot them up north, but they're starting to climb up north for sure, but notice that they're stronger. So the Canadian model has a stronger but slowly drifting up. The Navy, in the other hand, let's see what the Navy has. So the Navy really doesn't do much with them neither. It just has it pretty much sitting here and then another one popping up here. It could be the same one that has 30% chance now. And I can show you these, but these are not really used too much. But basically, just like the Navy has, it has them kind of like just lingering here. So as you can see, the forecasting models are not doing much with those disturbances, but you nevertheless remember a lot of these models did the same thing with Laura. So don't pay attention just take it with a grain of salt. Pay attention, but don't stress yourself over it, because that is most likely going to change as we approach to the peak of the hurricane season. But other than that, guys, that's all I have for you. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Any comments, any suggestions, any questions, put them in the comment section below. Other than that, you guys have a safe day. Stay safe. And definitely keep an eye on. We're approaching to the peak of the season. So at this point, anything at this point is on the table. We need to be paying attention. A quick spin up, anything can develop. So stay safe. Have a good day. Thank you for watching my video.